Good morning, guys. We're going to be working on Algebra Builder number 5 this morning. Make sure you write in your name and today's date. So identify the independent and the dependent variables. It's very important that we know how to identify independent and dependent variables. So how often you cut the grass depends on how fast the grass grows. So I like to say this backwards because it's much more easier for me to identify the dependent before the independent. Let's read it again. How often you cut your grass depends on how fast your grass grows. Well, the dependent is how often you cut grass. That's your dependent, how often you cut your grass. How often you cut your grass depends upon how fast the grass grows. So how often you cut your grass depends on how fast the grass grows. Interesting thing is they wrote it right there. Integer operations, negative 36 divided by negative 6, negative 6 times negative 10 times 2, and 75 divided by negative 5. Those are all calculator work. I'm not going to do those for you. On equations and expressions, we have 9w minus 3 plus 6 when 5 equals w. So 5 is my variable. W is my variable that represents the number 5. So I'm going to do 9 times 5 minus 3 plus 6. So anywhere you see this w, you're going to plug in your 5. Anywhere you see the w, you're going to plug in the number 5. And this is calculator work after that. 25m minus 6m when m equals 6. Again, wherever you see the m's, you're going to plug in your 6. So 25 times 6 minus 6 times 6. And again, that's calculator work. Our next one says 36x minus 6 plus 7x times 2x when x equals 3. So anywhere you see these x variables, you're going to plug in the 3. Now this one, I'm just going to write it a little bit different. 36 times 3 minus 6. Do you see what I used now? I used parentheses. Does it matter that I used a multiplication dot or that I used parentheses? It does not. They both mean multiplication. Plus 7 times 3 times 2 times 3. I prefer to use parentheses. Parentheses help keep the numbers separate and your calculator recognizes it a whole lot better. Order of operations. Again, calculator work. Here on the second part of order of operations for your calculator, I want you to use parentheses where the brackets are. So here you would have 2 open parenthesis, 6 squared minus 5 squared, close parenthesis, plus 4, close parenthesis. Again, that's calculator work. Function rules and tables. Identify the domain and the range of the function. Here, this part with this table all go together. Okay, so it asks us to identify the domain and range. Well, let's go ahead and look at vocabulary first. The vocabulary helps us. The opposite of y is x. The opposite of domain is range. The opposite of dependent is independent. The opposite of run is rise. And the opposite of output is input. That's vocabulary. Now, when it's asking you to identify the domain and range of the function, we know the x's are the domains. So I'm going to open parenthesis, negative 2, comma, 3, comma, 4, comma, and 6. The range are my y values. So the range is negative 3, comma, 9, comma, and 12, comma, and close parenthesis. Now, is it a function? Does every x have exactly one y value partner? Does 2, does 3, does 4, does 6? We're only looking at the x values. Are each of these paired with 1? Yes, each of them is paired with 1. We're not looking at the y values where you see that negative 3 is paired with more than 1. We're not interested in that. We're only interested in the x values. So is this a function? Yes, it is a function. The sum of a number and 5. The sum of a number and 5. That means I'm going to add. A number didn't give us a number, so that means it's a variable. When it says a number, that means you can put just about any letter you want. We know we're adding the sum of a number and 5. Let's go ahead and use the number j plus 5, because I'm adding. The difference between a number and 5. So we know difference means to subtract. So let's just say I'm going to put c minus 5. And my students know why I use j and c. All right, let's look at representing functions as graphs. So we have a graph, we have a table, and here they gave us some scratch work. Make a table, graph the function y equals x plus 4. When the domain, here are their numbers for the domain. -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. Here is my function, y equals x plus 4. So my x is -2 plus 4. So that makes +2. Y equals +2. Again, y equals x plus 4 is my function. Now I have -1. -1 plus 4. So y equals 3. Y equals x plus 4. My next one is 0 plus 4. So y equals 4. And y equals x plus 4. I have 1 plus 4. Y equals 5. And then again, y equals x plus 4. So we have 2 plus 4. So y equals 6. Now I'm going to plot these. -2, +2. -1, +3, 0, 4, 1, and 5, and 2, and 6. Draw my line. Now my y-intercept is pretty simple. It's wherever my line that I just drew crosses this y-intercept. Y-intercept, wherever it crosses this y-intercept. So this point right here that crosses, also represented by any x0, is 0, 4. All right, now let's look at our bottom. Distributive property, 4 times z minus 2 plus 3z. Distributive property means we're going to distribute this 4 times z and this 4 times -2. So 4 times z is 4z, 4 times -2 is -8, plus 3z. Now my question is, are there any like terms? Yes, there are. These are like terms. So I'm going to take my +4 with my +3. So 4 plus 3 is 7z minus 8. And this is my answer. -5 times y plus 1 plus 6y. So I'm going to distribute -5 times y is -5y. -5 times 1 is -5 plus 6y. Again, do I have like terms? Yes, here are my like terms. -5 plus 6. Well, I know -5 plus 6, or 6 minus 5 is 1y minus 5. Then I have f minus 5 times -2 plus 11f. So I have here on the back side, do not be afraid just because it's in the back. Just like it's in the front over here, it's in the back over here. You still distribute. So I have -2 times f makes -2f, and then -2 times -5. Well, negative times a negative makes a positive, so I'm going to put a positive sign or a plus sign there. And 2 times 5 is 10. Bring down plus 11f. I have like terms right here, -2f plus 11. So that makes 9f plus 10. And there you have our algebra builder number 5.